Welcome back to the All-Purpose Pod for an all-purpose life, wherever you are and however you're listening to the Call Me Mista Yu, the podcast. We thank you again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week. We're your weekly mirror check before you go change the world, baby. What's going on this morning? Bo was on assignment in beautiful Maui. I don't think he'll be joining us today. Can't blame him for that. I think Rod's going to be commanding the comment section like he normally does, dominating out there. Just you and me, Herb. How you doing this morning, brother?
What do I have to do to get that assignment? Like, how do you have to put in certain amount of years?
I don't know how you got that assignment. I know it's a friend that was getting married. I mean, I feel like, for me, I feel like weddings are something that I don't want to go to. I don't know. I'm saying this after going to a wedding 3 months ago, so that's excluding that. Generally speaking, when somebody's getting married, I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to celebrate, support them. Free food is going to be involved. Perhaps that's the lure, this thing, the free food. Some folks like the libations and whatnot. They want all the, they want the liquid help, so to speak.
Right.
Perhaps that's what the wedding for. I don't know how you get the assignment, brother. I mean, got any friends that are single?
I mean,
get them hooked up.
Yeah, but I guess you ask your friends when they first start, hey, man, where would you get married if you went to? Oh, man, Count Courthouse. Oh, yeah. Can't be friends anymore. Can't be friends anymore. Sorry, bro. Pull up.
We'll get married in Podunk. This ain't going to work out.
Yeah, tell them I'm full. Looked at my friends list. Oh, can't bump anybody. Sorry.
Yeah, beautiful Maui. I'm sure we're going to hear all about this next week and all the pictures. And, again, him rubbing our noses in it again. So
yeah, as usual. We're used to it at this point.
This is a constant, yeah. Beautiful Washington, now Maui. I mean, it only goes downhill from here. I mean, he's living in Mexico too, so that was like Mexico is beautiful as well. So it's like, he just is nonstop. I don't want to hear a complaint out of that man. You hear me?
Yeah.
Don't let him complain on this show ever again in life.
Nope, not for him.
Got it too good. Well, Raj, good morning, brother. Thank you for dominating the comment section out there, wherever you are. Hope all is well. We got a lot to get into, and I don't know how we can possibly do it. We have that much information to share with you guys. But first off, let's start off on a more somber note. NFL and ESPN analyst, I guess you could say, Chris Mortensen. Heard he died at 72 years old. Nearly 4 decades in the business. He was pretty much at the top of his field. He covered the NFL for a long time. Started off with the Falcons. But he was a legend. He was reliable as far as the information goes. We never heard no backlash about the information that came out of his mouth. We knew it came from a reliable source. Can't say that for everybody. So he kind of stood out in that regard to me. He retired last year for health reasons. And if you listen to him talk when he was doing it, really passionate about the NFL. You could tell he loved the game. He left behind a wife, Mickey, and a son, Alex, I believe his son's name is. Yeah, so Chris Mortensen, NFL and ESPN analyst, died at 72 years old, man. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just,
what do you remember about him?
One of those guys you just remember growing up, like you said, it's now I feel like, and not to just shade other people, but a lot of information comes out there and you're never really sure. But like when Mort reported something, man, you knew, okay, that's what was happening. You just felt like there was a guy that didn't sleep, and the people trusted, like, this is the information that needs to get out. Always professional. You don't remember just seeing bad moments from him on camera. And you could kind of tell, the last couple of years before he retired, like you could tell where his health was going, man. Been battling cancer since 2016, man. So he put up a fight, man. It's sad to see. It's like kind of one of those guys you just grow up and get used to. You don't really think of, when you would think of ESPN NFL reporter, you think Mort, and there you go. It's like a person like me who doesn't even know him will call him Mort. You know what I mean? It's just like,
he was a friend, right?
Yeah, just kind of one of those guys who always you expected to relay information, man. So definitely, prayers and thoughts out to the family. And I mean, that's tough. That's tough, man.
Yeah, man. It's kind of a shock when you're sitting here researching sports stuff, and it's like it puts everything in perspective. One of the things that I always want to do with this show, and I feel like it's growing to that, but it's not where I want it to be at yet. But we talk about sports, family, and life. And life just happens, man. We talk about sports stuff and free agents and people saying they want to go to a certain team or they don't want to they want just large contract that they may not deserve, or they dropping passes. We talk about all this kind of stuff, and we go on and on. We go in on these people, and it's like at the end of the day, it's really not important.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what we're doing, I feel like it makes a difference in specific areas. I hear it coming back to me through feedback. At the end of the day, we're talking about sports, and this man gave almost 40 years of it to us for the most part, and now he's not here. It puts things in perspective real quick. Like, you don't have to be here tomorrow. Don't take today for granted. That I share on my other social media platform, but don't take tomorrow for granted because it's not promised.
Yeah,
you don't have to be here, and it's like, wow, it was just kind of a hard hitting moment to see that. I'm like, wow, okay, you almost forgot that people are real people.
Yeah,
with family.
Like you said, you get so used to them and their jobs and what they shoot out to you every day that it's like, wow, when you sit back and like you said, you're reading off, leaving a wife and a kid behind, you're like, okay, there's a lot more to this than what we see. So
right,
definitely tough, man. It was that was just one of those like wow information pieces that you get. It's like certain people you just kind of expect to be there forever and then they retire. You know what I mean? I know it's the wrong way to look at it, but that's just what you think sometimes. So.
Yeah, I mean they become a fixture. And then NFL season coming around, certain guys, I won't name all the people because I don't want to leave anybody out. This might be offended by that. But, the NFL season starts. There's certain names you look to hear from them. You look to get the information from. I don't care if it's editorials or hot takes or just upcoming free agent rumors and trade news and stuff. There's certain people you look for. You just know it when they're talking. What's it's probably going to happen, or they got it on good intel that it's going to happen. Right. And that's kind of just, where I saw Mort, man. But yeah, very sober moment there. Good morning to the man, the myth, the legend, Raj. Dominating the comment section. Thank you, brother, for joining us. Roll Tide. Good morning, sir. You guys are in the news a lot lately. I hear Alabama a lot lately. Wonder what that's about.
We're like kind of the villains of the college football world, so like our news always seems to get out there. We're there.
Villains?
So, yes.
I think you're the villains of the college football world. Seriously though? You think you guys are the villains? Nobody worse than y'all?
Huh?
Nobody worse than y'all?
People hate us, man. You ever see our own conference hates us, like top to bottom. Like our conference, if they was like, all right, if Alabama goes to the championship game, everyone in the conference gets $10 million. If they miss, nobody gets anything. Everybody would choose nothing. They say, forget it. We're good. So
come on, man.
Trust me.
That analogy is deep. $10 million?
They would. Because the average fan doesn't care about that. They'd be like, we'll be okay.
People get over themselves for $10 million. No, they'll
because the people who are posting that stuff don't see any of it. So they're like, we don't care if our school gets that or not. We would rather see Alabama fail.
Wow. You know what? I'd love to hear some more research on that. I didn't say it's not true. I'm just saying, but the villain of college football, I feel like there's some other team that garner some consideration. I need to see some numbers.
Analytics. Like who you got?
Michigan.
You see, but you only did it for 1 year. What you went through in 1 year is what we go through our whole lives. So you're talking about this one bad year.
Are they the only villains, though? I mean, there's no more?
We're one of the biggest. Nah, I mean, you never only have just one villain, but we are one of the most hated schools in college football. Look how quickly after Michigan went through 2 scandals, right? And won championship. And what's everybody talking about? Saban retired. They're trolling us. They're after us. The talk has been Alabama.
I know you guys are getting trouble. I'm trying to stay up with Alabama because you guys are on the show. I want to see what you're seeing and hear what you're hearing.
Our rival went and did the celebration they do after they win a game or win a national championship, which never happens. Which win a games and stuff like that. They go roll their Toomer's corner. They did that after our coach retired.
This is Auburn?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so petty.
Yes.
Somebody might be an Auburn fan, but I wouldn't dare talk to him about this. He just is not. I don't think he can watch the show. And you know what? That's fine. If he does, I gotta put him on blast because you guys are here and it's like, I gotta let y'all have at it. But I don't think he's gonna show up. But who knows? I might send him a text,
Yeah.
Send him an invite. Hey, you know what? Get some friend that want to talk to you about a little something. You want to talk about history? No, something else you want to talk about. He's a pastor out here locally, and he's from Auburn. Well,
okay,
he went to school out there, so he's big. I'm talking about all I hear is War Eagle. So it's yeah, it'd be fun to have him on here in the comment section. Let you guys get a chance to go back and forth with him, but don't hold your breath. But
yeah,
the villain though, I definitely want to see that kind of stuff fleshed out more. I want to talk about that someday at some point on somebody's show. The villain of college football. I got to hear the whole wide. That's interesting. I like that. All right. Well, I want to talk to you about the NFL middle class. It's funny because it feels like the salaries are starting to grow up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not. I mean, right off the bat, you heard about Kirk Cousins. He's trying to get a guaranteed deal to stay in Minnesota as a Viking. There's some reports that kind of say that, Arthur Blank in Atlanta is making a hard press for him. He's telling all of his people, this is the guy that we want, which I can't really blame him because right now they went through maybe 2 or 3 years of maybe even longer of instability.
Right.
At quarterback position. And now, you're at a place where you got 3 very talented offensive players in Pitts, London, and Bijan, and you want to start, taking a step forward in a division that is kind of ripe for the picking. Yeah. So to get a quarterback that's stable there would be a very wise move. It's a bit distressing when you hear that the Justin Fields to Atlanta talk. I'm like, what would happen if that went through? What happens to Kirk Cousins? So it's a very weird dichotomy going on. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But at the same time, I think the last year, it was like offenses were throwing about, where we at? This is about, okay. So this is some issues with quarterback play, obviously, but the middle class quarterback salaries are rising. And it's like, I don't think they're going to have a financial problem, but what do you think about the fact that this is going on now and situations like a Kirk Cousins, like a Tua? I know that I might have triggered my boy Rod, but it wasn't intended to. Just, some thoughts here. Baker Mayfield. These people are in I guess they're considered in the middle class of the quarterback group, and they're about to get these big money. I mean, if the money that they rumored Baker Mayfield to get is legit, that is stellar for somebody of his ilk, so to speak.
Right.
$100 million with the number that I heard. I'm like, wow.
Which is crazy for Baker Mayfield, But what's happening here is, I think you're just seeing it's like if you are one of those middle class kind of guys, a Kirk Cousins kind of guy, right? And you're the Vikings, excuse me. What does it take to get one of the big? Well, most of those guys are untouchable. You're not getting Josh Allen, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jayden. Like you're not getting the next level guy, right? That's just not going to happen. The drop to what's below him is what? Rookie quarterback. Well, you're not in the top 3 picking, so you'd have to move a whole lot to get to there. And does that move the needle where you want it to move to? Mm-hmm. Probably not, especially for Tampa Bay or Minnesota. So it's like, what do we do? We got to, I guess, keep our guy, probably sign a contract that, pays him a lot for, Cousins wants his fully guaranteed. My problem with the Cousins one is for Minnesota, that kind of keeps you right at that same good enough to make the playoffs, not good enough to win it all. And you're committing a lot of money to that. The Baker Mayfield would make more sense. I haven't looked at the contract, but it would make more sense to me if it was like, we're going to pay you good for this next year, maybe 2, and then we can get out of it sort of situation. But it makes more sense to me to do that kind of stuff for like a Tampa Bay or an Atlanta, because like you said, you can win that division. At the very least, get yourself one home game, which means more playoff money. And then, you never know after that point. But for Minnesota, I feel like you're going to lock yourself into a whole lot of mediocrity, You do have Jefferson, you do have Addison, so there's probably pieces you can add to make that better. But I don't know if Kirk's the guy. So, but to answer your original question, the salary cap is going up, $30 million. So there's going to be more money out there for these guys. Kirk Cousins getting older, he wants to lock himself into a deal, but do you really want to commit that much money and not, take a step forward? So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in baseball, there's a trend that's a little bit different than this. Superstars, they get that bank. You know what I'm saying? That's just like kind of what happens. but people who are like in that veteran room that maybe are more utility guys, they get squeezed out.
Right.
But in the NFL, it seems like it's like I'm not comparing total salaries because I don't know how much the NFL is making, comparatively to the Major League Baseball, but it's just weird because the quarterback play we can see, especially last year, was a great example. It's been plateauing,
right?
But the pay is rising up. I mean, we're talking about Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield. I can't do two thumbs up or this happens. I don't even know what even caused that.
I was like, this is a great point. I better be listening now.
I don't know what I did to make that happen, but whatever. Okay, but people like Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield, they're looking at humongous paydays, and it's like, if you look at the season they had, if you just use that as an example, it doesn't really warrant that. But what's happening is that teams are paying for solid play.
Right.
It doesn't sound like a bad thing if I just give you that one sentence and say, you know what, analyze that, without any other context. Okay, solid play, something you should pay for. That's not a problem, but it's like, but that's kind of all it is. When normally people pay for what you do over that. People were killing. Well, Daniel Jones is not. He's kind of an outlier and all this stuff. But if you just took his 1 year that he did something reasonably good, that would be considered a solid year because he had severe O-line issues. He was on his back a lot. He got sacked a lot of the times. I think part of that I'll bring back to a comparison to Tua in a second. But in that situation, it was solid, and people will say, you know what, he deserved that pay because he had a solid year. But it's like, is that what you're paying for? Is that what the NFL has come to with a middle class? I don't know how else to describe them. People, quarterbacks in that middle tier are getting paid for having solid years. I mean, there's like, I think guys like Jared Goff and Jordan Love and Geno Smith and Jimmy G, they had contracts between $10-35 million. I mean, that's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
For years that weren't stellar years. I'll probably take Goff out of that equation a little bit. Jordan Love, he's kind of working on something right now, so this is a good time for him to take that next step up. I think he did that. I think he earned a shot for another contract.
Agreed.
to kind of showcase, who he is in this new situation that he has. But I'll take Jared Goff out because of the season that they had. It was very, very good. It wasn't great on his behalf as far as his numbers particularly, but it was solid. You know what I'm saying? But these guys are not upper tier quarterbacks. They haven't been that at all. And I don't know that they ever will be that. Guys like Geno and stuff, they're getting a lot of money and they're not doing anything outside of solid. I was mentioning Tua because I was reading a report and they kind of mentioned, his 4,624 yards, that it was the fewest, since 2017. And this isn't to cachet. I'm just saying this is the kind of stuff that we see, but then the money seemed to be a different matter. He had I think a passer rating 89, which was like also a 6-year low. And it's like, okay. So, and then of course, Pro Football Reference talks about, all the times he got sacked because he had the greatest amount of dropbacks and everything. I'm like, well, that's an old line situation. We get that part, but there's just a issue with how the position's being compensated.
So when you said the 4,000 is the fewest for what?
Passing yards.
For Tua or for what?
I think it was for Tua.
No, because that's his most. Like his 2020 season was 18, so he's gone up every year as far as passing yards. You said 46, right? This past year?
4,624.
Yeah, that's his most for a year so far.
Yeah, but I think I think they're comparing it to the rest of the league. And they say
he has the fewest passing yards in the league?
It's in it, yeah, that's what they're saying.
Well, I think that would be impossible for that to be the least.
By a league leader, I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, see, but that's what. So you're saying he had the most in the league, and that was the least to lead the league.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out what comes next. What happens next? Because you got guys that are, I guess they're functional. I don't know how to describe it. They can have a good run and get that, and get that bag. And it's like, it's like, the guys at the top of the food chain, they're going to always command big money. I mean, they were talking about Mahomes
and they should
commanding astronomical money coming up on his next. I'm like, the numbers are staggering. You know what I'm saying? But the guys at the middle ground, it's like it doesn't seem to be, especially when the team is needy. They just kind of, it feel like they just playing with monopoly money.
Yeah,
they go ahead and just spend it. Like they don't think about the ramifications of what could happen. I mean, some of these guys, they're not. I'm not saying that they're bad at quarterback. We talk about Kirk Cousins all the time. His name always seems to come up for some strange reason. We talk about quarterback play and worthiness for contracts and that kind of stuff. I don't know why his name constantly comes up. We know what happens in prime time games, and there's a historical element to that. But it's like these guys. I mean, it's like the guys that are. I mean, if Jameis had a better year, we'd be talking about him too. He'd be in the same conversation, potentially getting a big 3-4 year deal if things had gone differently. It's like, but when you think about it, we're talking about Jameis.
Yeah,
this is.
Well, I was gonna say across all sports, though, they seem to do this. You could play for a team for 4 years, and they will ignore those first 3 years if the fourth year is good. Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time, right?
I see with Daniel Jones, man.
I mean, you know what I mean, right? And you get a good year, they make the playoffs that year, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is it." Now, some of the cases aren't the same as others. You talking about Jordan Love. I don't feel like he really got a fair shake in his first couple, right? So this is one of the first few years you really kind of saw him, and you saw him develop. And coming off his, maybe that's something you invest in, maybe. But a lot of these guys, man, across all sports, man, you just paying for past performance, So it's just crazy.
So is that what we had though?
I think so. I think everybody's trying to catch lightning in a bottle, and it's almost like I saw what this guy did for 1 year, especially for a lot of these teams. Like I've invested 4 years in this guy and only got one good year. So in order to make it look like my investment is paying off, now I got to pay this guy to keep him around and hope he does it again.
So what happens if quarterback play continues to slip?
I don't know what you do because it's like, even take like last year. I hate to talk about my boy Bryce Young, but we're getting one good and several bad to mediocre like per year. Like we're talking about possibly 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first to second round this year, right? What if we only get 2 out of 6 good out of that group? Then what do you think? The older guys who are kind of mediocre look better than spending a high draft pick on a bust, right? Yeah. That's kind of what it ends up. So I don't know. I'd hate to be an exec right now, especially in football.
That doesn't sound like an easy job to me. That sounds like it's a lot of work to figure this out. I mean, it's not just quarterbacks either. I mean, we got some other positions that are going through the same thing. I mean, we talked about Nick Bosa quite a few times. I mean, he's commanding an average of about $34 million a year annually, and it's like he's barely on the field sometimes. And it's like it just. I don't know. I mean, nobody's gonna side with the NFL because they make so much money.
Right.
People will say, you know what, all the players, no matter what, even if the players are wrong, they're gonna say the players first because they're the underdogs in this championship bout.
Right.
So they're gonna get the credit no matter what. But it's like some of this money getting tossed around is kind of like you're not using it. You're not being creative enough.
Right.
With the contracts you're crafting. And the guaranteed money is a whole different topic. I wouldn't take guaranteed money from anybody that's getting their heads bashed in every week. I'm not qualified to speak on that. But but just being creative about the contracts, being creative about how you use the money and where it goes, where it balloons at. I mean, just a little thing like that. So I mean, going into that, Saquon Barkley is another name that popped up.
Right. Oh, real quick, just on that point, I just want to say this too.
Yeah.
One thing you're mentioning about this, and they start ballooning up all these prices on these quarterbacks, they start chipping away that money at other spots. You know what I mean? And you see guys like you've seen this past year get cut that you weren't thinking about. They don't retain. So all of a sudden, you're paying your quarterback $50 million, but his left tackle that he really liked, we didn't re-sign him, so now we got another guy in there.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden, and then that running back that we've devalued, we've got another guy in there that and all of a sudden. Your running game's not as strong. Your pass protection's not as great. And that quarterback's numbers dips, and you're like, I wonder why this happened.
strange phenomenon.
Yeah, but nobody.
What happened?
Yeah, and then they look at him and go, "Man, we're paying you $50 million. What happened?" Well, you dropped my number 2 wide receiver, my left tackle, and my running back, and all of a sudden the offense isn't as good.
What did you expect to happen, right?
Yes, So sorry, I had to jump in with that thought real quick.
That's good. I mean, I appreciate it. So we're hearing about about Saquon, who's a running back for the New York Football Giants, and we're hearing talks that he's having a discussion with the team about getting a new deal. I have no idea what that number is going to look like. I know that the number that we heard that was a tag number was around 12,
right?
And it seemed to be the public perception that no running back should get more than 12.
Right. That's what like they've set a hard cap for running backs.
We're here out there on the street. I mean, they don't have a hard cap for no other position from what I can tell. I just told you about an edge rusher getting $34 million and he hardly plays. Told you about quarterbacks who are middle tier at best. Sometimes it's 16, 17, 18th in the league. I'm not sure that's even the middle anymore. And they are ready to command super contracts, to say the least. So it's very uneven to me. I'm not sitting here making a thing about the running backs, but it's just kind of weird because it doesn't seem very even. It doesn't seem very, I know the quarterback is the leader, so you think they should get more. They're the face of the franchise or however you want to frame it. But let's be honest. On the Los Angeles Rams, who's the face of that franchise? Don't tell me it's Matthew Stafford because you know better. It's not. It's not have the mark. It's not have anything on the marquee with the Rams on the marquee or a graphic on Sunday Night Football. Whose face is on that marquee? It's Aaron Donald. Every single time. I can go on and on. I can say with the Niners, whose face is on there? Is it Brock Purdy or is it CMC?
CMC, baby.
Who's the face?
I would even say Cooper Kupp before Matthew Stafford as far as the Rams go too. So he's
you can say that, but he's not around as much like that. So that I think that knocked him out of the box a little bit. But I mean, it goes on and on. We can pick a franchise out of the air, and whose faces on there. It's rarely ever a quarterback. It's not that all the time. It is with the Eagles and the Bills, and it is with the Chiefs. Probably is with the Chargers as well. But it doesn't happen as often as you think. Definitely doesn't happen with the Bears, and it's very well. It does happen with the Bears.
Yeah, but that's not fair because there's nobody else on the Bears. So it's not, that's one of those like
absolutely fair.
Yeah,
happened with the Texans and a whole bunch of other ones that it does happen, but it's the face of the franchise. Okay, I guess you should get paid, I suppose, but it's like this. It's uneven. So back to running backs again. $12 million is what people are saying is the max. Which, okay, but it looks as though some other teams are thinking about Saquon and they're interested in him, such as the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills and Saquon matching up. I don't think I want to hear that, but could you see that as a push to help them get further?
Yeah. I could see that in a situation where maybe I don't need Saquon to touch it every single play just because of the injury concerns, but you have to think he's one of the most dynamic guys out there, as far as what we're looking for in a future running back now is can you run and can you catch? And Saquon could do both of those. And he's electric once he has the ball. So if I'm a team like the Bills, which honestly I thought they'd be looking for a number 2 wide receiver first. So I don't, I didn't know that running back was really the thing. But I can see that just making the offense a little bit better for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody can maybe get matched up like you can slide Saquon maybe into the slot, put him up against a linebacker, maybe get open, stuff like little creative stuff you want to do just to get him out there. So I could see it, but also position, like I said, where they've already got like a little stable of running backs where I'm not thinking, all right, Saquon, I need you to get 20, 25 touches a game. I think he gets to a position like with the Bills who are probably going to make the playoffs with or without him. And maybe I'm just more trying to keep him healthy and maybe he can change something playoff wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. I haven't heard anything that even says that the Bills are trying to even bring Gabe Davis back, which is kind of surprising.
Right.
You need continuity wherever you can find it because you got some turmoil in the wide receiver room. No names being called, but they got some issues going on there. So you want continuity wherever you can find it. So I'm surprised that they're not thinking about bringing him back in there. Maybe they are. I'm just not hearing about it.
I think there's he's upset about being underutilized, I guess. But then what he also hurt at the end of this year. So I don't know. Gabe Davis just seems like a 100-yard guy or a 10-yard guy, like nothing in between, for his per game averages when you watch,
Yeah.
So.
I've watched his game since the beginning. And honestly, he was a third and fourth string running back. Sorry, it's early, 3 hours sleep. My bad.
No good. You're good, man. You're good.
Been a third and fourth string wide receiver for a long time.
Right.
However long he's been in the league, 90% of that's been third or fourth stringer. This is the first time he's been elevated to a status where he's become the number 2 guy and be able to have the kind of production that you just got finished describing. Yeah. So I don't know how much complaining you should be doing. I think you need some more years of doing what you did recently before you start doing that. But that's my personal opinion. Regarding Barkley, another team is rising up. This excites me, except for the fact it's not my team, but I'm excited about the team, and him being on it just makes me more excited. And that's the Houston Texans.
Right.
There'll be some discussion about him talking to Stroud. I don't read anything into that because NFL players talk to each other.
Right.
We know that already.
Yeah.
But have him on that team, what they had going on, and if you bring in Tank Dell, who I think is a hybrid there with a running back and wide receiver, you have there with Saquon.
That would be dangerous. And another weapon for Stroud at this stage of his career is always a good thing. You know, what do we talk about some of these other teams that don't build around their young quarterback? So pick up like that, you know. And again, like I said, you're already joining the playoff team. We don't need you to get the majority of the touches all year. We need you to be around for the big games, you know.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
No,
so
I guess Goose.
Yeah. So I guess it begs the question: should he be staying with us? Should he be staying with the Giants? Is that best for us in the situation that we're in? I mean, I'm hearing the question a lot. You even asked me that last week, I believe, on the show, and I'm like, you know, it's a tough question. It's not cut and dry. If he stays with us, you give potentially whoever the next quarterback is coming in, because I don't think that Daniel Jones will be there after this year. And I told everybody from the time that the contract was signed that the Giants get themselves out with his contract.
Right.
After the second year, they can cut ties and be released of, I forgot how many millions of dollars it was, but it was significant that they would save by letting him go after that second year. And it was, you know, and I feel as though that's exactly what's going to happen. They gave him a chance to do some things in that first year. The ACL injury was not his fault, but, you know, at the end of the day, it still works to the Giants' advantage. So I feel as though whoever the new quarterback is, if they're coming in and having a weapon like Barkley there, aids their development immensely.
Agreed.
Having a competent O-line will help out as well.
Yeah. And that's why with the Saquon part, like I can see them letting him go because you need to invest some capital in the line, you know, I guess again, unfortunately. So we apologize for Evan Neal. Sorry about that, man. That's bad, but guy, that was a disappointment to me as well.
Here's my question about that, man. Do you think that he can play guard?
I guess. Why hasn't that been a thing already? But I mean, it's been bad, you know. So I can't.
It wasn't bad in Bama though. What's going on now?
Maybe why just bigger than everybody else when he was at Bama. I don't know, man. There's some of them that just don't seem to translate very well.
You never played guard at Bama at all, ever?
I don't think so. Now I might be wrong. Maybe in his early years he did, but I just don't remember it. So
I don't know how he stays on his team unless he's playing guard.
Right.
Because he's getting chewed up out here.
Yeah. But to my understanding, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, I got no excuses. We apologize. It's just been
I want you to answer for. I'm trying to just get conscious. I'm like, any saving grace for this? Is there anything here? Because if not, if he can't play guard and do that competently, he's moving along. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I feel bad for anybody that has to get a bump. It's like, man, can we get anything out of him? He was obviously good enough. Was he great? You tell me if he was great or not. You and Rod can tell me that. But I mean,
he was great here, but I mean, all we care about now is NFL production is just not there. You know, I mean, it's just plain and simple. So it's more. But if you're thinking about you're making a quarterback change in a couple years and like next year is definitely not the year, it's like, why would you invest in Saquon? Maybe, you know, even $12 million, get half of that this year out of him, you know, with the injury history and the line still being improved. It's almost like it's time to move on just because your timeline is 2 to 3 years from now versus next year. You know what I mean? Okay. I feel like getting Saquon while he's still, you know, young is more of a, I need you to produce for the next couple of years and help us get over the top. You know what I mean? And I just don't feel like the Giants are in that situation for next year, especially if you're thinking about getting off Daniel Jones in another year.
Yeah, there's no question that's going to happen. So, say you're a Giants fan, die hard like myself. Anything I say is going to be biased. So let me just ask somebody else.
Sound like me.
I'm saying because I'm just taking the bullets out of the gun for people to start firing at me. So, as a Giants fan, do you feel as though we should be rebuilding from scratch, or do we have? Well, if you don't have a quarterback situation and you have an O-line, so I feel like you're rebuilding anyways. But just this talent on the offensive side of the ball, Waller might be retiring.
Right,
he hasn't decided. I don't care what he does. Just the bottom line,
because he was barely here this last year. So
yeah, basically. So I don't know if I guess we are rebuilding, but I mean, I don't know what level we're rebuilding in your mind. Is that where we are? You think we need to be rebuilding? I mean, talking about anything that represents big money, we need to go ahead and cut it and start all over again and rebuild from the draft and free agency. What do you think we should be doing?
So I do agree with kind of a rebuild situation because, like, off the top of my head, but correct me if I'm wrong, you're trying to fix your line, right? Possibly tight end situation, right? A good number one wide receiver, right? And then if you let Saquon go, running back. So it's almost like you're trying to rebuild the whole offense anyway. And that's even flip to the other side of the ball, right? So if I'm already thinking all that and I'm looking at the timelines, 2 years from now, maybe Philly's a little worse, Dallas is a little worse. It's not the worst thing to plan for 2 to 3 years from now versus do we need to get better next year? Because, like, what does getting better like next year kind of really get you? See what I'm saying? Versus if I take a 2 or 3 year rebuild, I switch out these positions like we're talking about. I develop some guys, and all of a sudden you're kind of more in like a Detroit situation where we've nailed the draft 2 or 3 years ago. We're on top of the division and things are looking a little bit better. So I think if the Giants try to do it on the fly and try and compete next year, I just don't think it's going to go well. I think there's too many teams to jump next year and too many holes to fill, just like offensively. So.
Yeah, there's a couple of factors in all this stuff to me. That 2022 season was an outlier to say the least. I mean, we had about 8 years, if not more, of ineptitude, front office stuff, coaching, and even some play on the field too. And it's like to overachieve. Excuse me, to overachieve that year was it kind of set us back because like it made you think we were going forward, but we didn't have enough pieces to really go forward.
Right.
We didn't have an O-line to really go forward. We didn't have a quarterback that we could rely on to go forward. So it's kind of like, you kind of got lightning in the bottle, but now you got to go back from scratch. And the impatience part is where I struggle. I'm like, man, it's already been 8+ years, dude. We got to go back and rebuild all over again. Now you're talking about 2 or 3, man. So it's like, that's hard for me to get in my head. Like, okay, you're talking about almost 11, 12 years. Nobody wants to, I mean, this team out here who haven't done anything in 12 years. And, I feel their pain. And I'm like, I don't want to be in a place where we hadn't been to the playoffs, haven't done nothing in 12 years. So I can only imagine how they feel. But I don't want to go through that.
Yeah. Well, look at what the Lions went through before this last little year. Finally they held on to Stafford as long as they could. And finally they just said, but the component of that was they nailed the draft for like the last 2 or 3 years. That like last year, I don't know, that was unprecedented, the draft picks they were hitting on. You have to have faith in that part of it, to get it. Because if you're part of your rebuild is you're going to have at least, 4 or 5 guys on cheap contracts for 3 or 4 years to where, year 2 or year 3 of the Lions, we can fill in with a high priced free agent and maybe make a good run at it, So like you said, we talked about at the beginning of the year, making the playoffs last year for the Giants was maybe one of the worst things. Like a parallel, sorry, Roger, if you're listening, I said for the Lakers, last year, making the conference finals was probably one of the worst things because the team said, oh, man, we're almost there. And now you look at them now. You know what I mean? And sometimes, like you said, success is the worst thing. So,
yeah, man, I wish we could get a draft like what Detroit had. Matter of fact, that even what like Houston had, I'll take that any day of the week.
Yep.
They amassed some talent, man. It's like, gosh, if we can do that, man, I think we're in a really great spot. I think I would be able to live with the 2-year turnaround. But I'm just like, 3 years and longer. I'm like, do we need to do that?
Yeah.
I guess I'm just not. Maybe I'm not dealing with reality. I'm like, do we have to go that long? I mean, You watch some teams do that, and I mean, look what the Texans did. They weren't even close to this before they drafted C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
They were
and Will Anderson. I mean, they made a big play for Will Anderson, and it hit. When you do those, it has to hit, man. And you look at, and these are you'll obviously be more versed in the draft picks, but I think of Neil and Tony right off the top of my head, both first rounders that just, you know what I mean? And it's like, were those just two bad shots, or was that is that more indicative of how they draft? You know, do you trust the people in those positions? So, morning, Bo.
Good morning, bro. We miss you, brother. Hope you're doing good out there, brother. You and Rod got the comment section on lockdown, man. Yeah, man. So we got to nail the draft. Yeah. I mean, I think about the draft. This is a bad example, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. Reminds me of the Knicks. They had, I forgot what year it was, man, but they had a pick. And it was like, you got to get this pick right. It was a high pick, like a top 7 pick, something like that. And they picked Frederick Rice. I ain't never going to forget it because the sound that came out of MSG, the sound that came out of the place where I was watching the draft, it was like all the air went out of that place. It was like awful. It was like, oh, it was like a collective, oh, God. It was Frederick Rice. That man never did nothing for us or anybody else on the continent of the United States on the basketball court. It was like, why did y'all pick him? That's the kind of stuff that scares me. Sometimes. Yeah. I don't know what it is about. Well, as far as the Knicks go, they always want to get some guy from France or some guy from Europe that can, or Lithuania that can shoot there, but here he can't play no defense, but he can shoot. He's a 3-point specialist over there, but he can't play no defense. They always get guys like that. For me, I'm so nervous about this draft a little bit. I really am, to be honest, because I really thought this is a pivotal draft right here. Right. You got to get this thing right, like you saying, Herb. You got to get this right. The Texans got it right. The Lions got it right. Those are great blueprints if you want to try to follow that. But you got to get this right, man. There's so much stuff that we need right now. You got to talk about trading up. I'm like, oh, my God. I don't know about all of that.
Yeah.
You trade up, you're giving picks away. Yeah. When are you going to get them back? Yeah. Where's their value in the draft where you're going to get those picks back?
Look, so if you trade up, you're looking at the Carolina situation where you've got a lot else to fix and you don't have enough around them. I mean, let's just be honest, and that's not what you want to put a new quarterback through.
You don't want to you want to be around the New York fans and that happen.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to hear and see, maybe even feel what you're feeling. So I'm really not, that's not a good thing. Yeah. So we definitely got to nail this draft. I don't know where the quarterbacks can come from. We talked about guys that are kind of in that second tier quarterback. I personally don't even know if they're fit. I don't know what research to do to say if Bo Nix is a fit for us or not. I don't know. I can't see it. I'm hearing JJ's name. I think he's a better quarterback than people give him credit for.
Yeah,
I think I've seen enough to know that part. But
if I was in that second group, I think my rankings would be McCarthy, Penix, Nix. So if I'm the Giants sitting at 6, I would be doing all my work on those 3 guys, right? Are they worthy of the number 6 pick, right? Or am I punting this thing for a whole nother year, riding with what I got, maybe already scouting the next year's draft class and seeing where I land, That's where I would go. I would not even look at the top 3 guys. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? I wouldn't go for that situation. I would see what I got with the rest. There's the last thing you want to do is, like I say, get this guy in there, draft, jump up to one of the top 3 guys. And I'm not even sure like Daniels really helps you in the situation that you're in, especially with the line and his slight build. So I'm looking at the other guys and maybe I'm thinking about that. So I don't trade up. I don't trade up.
That man's probably the most accurate guy in the draft. I give him credit for that, but with no O-line, that man will be taking it on the chin. I don't want that for him.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. This draft has to be right. I'm glad we talked about the draft because we miss NFL so much. I can't help it. So I'm glad that we're still here talking about it. But I don't know where this goes. Because this is a lot of speculation that we're not even going to take a quarterback with the first pick. I'm like, what you waiting for? The second one? You're hoping that McCarthy and Penix are going to be there, but there's no guarantee of that whatsoever. Yeah. Yeah. So if that happens to be the day all those guys get picked, all you got left is a Bo Nix, and I don't even know who comes after that. I guess the guy from Tulane.
Yeah, the drop off. It's like top 3, next 3, all right, this is not like your franchise guy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I feel like the
gets,
top 6 maybe at least have a shot at it, but
it gets scary. I think we need to get a quarterback here
right.
at 6. I know some O-line guys. I love Joe Alt. I think there's a Rashawn who's an opportunity there. He's dropping in some of the rankings. I'm not quite sure why, what's going on with him, but he's dropping a little bit in the mocks. But I would probably take a quarterback there just to make sure you have that, and then try to get your O-line guys, I suppose, or your probably your wide receiver. I don't know. I doubt that Rome is going to be there in the second round, so they get a wide receiver somewhere, maybe Leggett from South Carolina, somebody else.
Yeah,
that can do that. But I mean, at the end of the day, the O-line's been the problem. It hasn't really been the quote unquote offensive playmakers.
Yeah.
Guys like Wandale, and them guys been, they look great out there, man. Hyatt, they just ain't getting the ball.
Yeah.
They blowing pass posts and they wide open, they're not getting the ball. So
I forgot that y'all drafted Hyatt. I thought that was definitely underutilized. But I mean, the quarterback situation kept changing this year, so it's hard. Sometimes it's just harder to judge wide receivers. I was looking at a couple different mocks. Yeah, this one was funny. Like, I read this. I was like, this can't be true, right?
where was?
Yeah, one of the draft picks. He said he doesn't believe in space. Or one of the guys at the combine
doesn't believe in. You mean like outer space?
Yeah.
Oh man, are we dealing with another flat earther deal? What are we talking about here?
Tyler Owens tells her, I don't believe in space or other planets. Okay. Former Texas Tech defensive back.
Okay. Thanks, bro, for the question. Honestly, I don't know. I'm looking at his play on the field. I mean, what else can I go on? This is if it wasn't true, Kyrie wouldn't be on.
True.
He's still making money.
Yeah, but I feel like Kyrie waited till he was really good to start saying his crazy stuff. Like not right before he got drafted. I think he was like, "Let me get in here and win a championship, and then I'll just say what I want." Texas Tech is sitting somewhere going, "Oh," and his age is probably like, "All right, no more interviews."
I hope when we go back and look at his tape that he ain't getting beat in space. He's concerned about that kind of space. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah. Wow, this draft, man. This draft is this one got me concerned overall because I feel like it's quarterback heavy, but I'm wondering what's going to happen with the other guys.
Right.
How far they're going to fall, especially the O-line guy. I think the O-line. I'm not sure how heavy the O-line is in this draft. I just know about the first couple of rounds is heavy O-line. After that, I'm not quite sure what happens.
Let me throw something at you real quick, just because I pulled up 2 or 3 different mock drafts. Right.
Oh my goodness.
I was looking at so one of them has Jayden Daniels falling to the Giants at 6. I was like, that's interesting. One of them has the Giants trading with the Cardinals to the 4 spot to draft JJ McCarthy. And I was like, I don't think either one of these two things is gonna happen or should happen.
Yeah.
A trade to 6.
Why would the Cardinals? They need a quarterback. Let's stop kidding around, right? We can talk about Kyler Murray all day long. They want to get a quarterback.
No, they're not going to draft a quarterback. They're going to draft a wide receiver.
They need to.
Yeah, but I think they got sold on him. So it's kind of not a matter of like what I think they should do, what I know they're going to do. They're not drafting a quarterback, not in this one. So I could see them trading back, but I don't think anybody's trading up for JJ McCarthy.
Why they keep? Are they trying to swerve us? Why they keep talking about it then?
I don't know.
There's so much talk about the Cardinals and quarterback. It's like it's so much. I'm like, is any smoke, any fire to the smoke, or is it just?
See, I haven't read as much about that. I've read more about them almost being locked into Marvin Harrison Jr. at that spot.
I've heard some of that, but I'm hearing a lot about quarterback. I'm like, because they were trying to do something with Kyler Murray for a while. They were trying to trade him.
Yeah, I think before he came back from injury in the end of this year with the new coach, he kind of solidified the position with him, how he played at the end of this year. So
because you living and dying with him, like he's kind of tied to your coaching life.
Yeah,
you gotta ask yourself, is that what you want? They got other problems too on other sides of the ball and stuff, but that quarterback situation is not. It doesn't seem to be cut and dry. And when Kyler Murray came back, he didn't look great. So hey, Bo was saying that they're going to go ahead and get Marvin. We're going to see that, brother. I'll be looking for it because, I mean, that'd be great. I'm sure that Kyler Murray could use that.
And that's why I threw that out there, because it's weird to trade up with a team that you know is not taking a, like I wouldn't trade with Arizona at 4. If I'm at 6, I might. I mean, I feel like the Giants just got to take their chances and see what falls to them at 6. I would not trade up. Yeah,
that's how I feel.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying, but that's why I wanted to see why I don't know why the mock draft even says that. You're not trading up to 4 to get one of that second group of people. That doesn't make sense to me.
How many guys are we talking about quarterback wise that we really actually want to have? That we want to have? We're talking about 6 guys, no?
6 guys.
We're talking about. Help me out. So I'm probably gonna botch this.
So you're going almost in this. Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, Jayden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Jayden.
Bo Nix is next.
I'm sorry, I meant the first 3 in that order. I already told you my order for the last 3 is McCarthy, Penix, Nix. So I just kind of messed up that part.
That's all of them?
That's the 6.
There's nobody else in there?
Not in the top 6.
Oh my God. Well, okay.
So like I said, sorry, and I messed that part. I was saying because Bo Nix is my last of the 6 for sure. But yeah,
I watched some of his games in Oregon. I just don't want that for us.
I think his problem is sometimes they say the happy feet. He sometimes looks real comfortable back there. And sometimes I think Bo Nix is just one of those guys that's like, I don't really want to stay in the pocket. If I could throw on the run and make something great, he's a guy that'll run around for 5 minutes and find somebody, one of those. So I'm much more of a McCarthy or a Penix fan out of that next group. So.
Okay. So in that group, I mean, now I had to look back. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for who's drafting when. My apologies. I did all this prep work, but I didn't do that part. But I know that the Bears are up first, and I think after that,
Washington.
That's what I thought.
Bears, right. Washington, Patriots, Arizona, Chargers, Giants.
That's what I thought. Okay. All right. So,
and the Chargers and Arizona are not getting quarterbacks.
That part is most definitely true.
Yeah.
So there's no need for us to move in this situation. And
that's what I said.
And we can get somebody other than Bo Nix.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay without having to get Bo Nix. So I think we should just stay there. I don't see any reason to trade up. I don't see what the point of that is.
Yeah. That's why I threw it out there, because I thought you'd be like, this is stupid.
It is stupid. Because we need more picks.
Yes.
I don't want to see us trade back in the second round because we don't have. I feel like we're going to miss out on some of the old line talent. I don't know where we're going to find it. We tried that little duct tape bubblegum thing last year. It didn't work out for us with the guys that we brought in. So I'd rather us keep our first 2 picks. If you want to start moving back after that, the trade-off could be kind of equal, and that'd be fine. But with that first pick, you got to go QB. That second pick, I would love to get an O-line guy or a wide receiver that's, like I said, if Roman Adunza's there, that's great, but I don't know if he's going to be that far down.
It depends on what the Chargers do. Like, are the Chargers valuing another wide receiver a whole lot? So
I don't think Allen is going to stay. I think they're going to do some other stuff. They got to make some cuts.
Yeah,
and lots of them. We talked to you about Bosa and Max Money. That's incredible. That's almost $80 million between them.
Yeah,
it's like that's a lot. Keenan Allen, you know what I'm saying? He probably had one of his best years recently, just past season, and he's been hurt practically every season. I don't know how long you can keep that going. And Mike Williams, he's donezo.
Yeah,
he needs to be going. Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of guys who's gonna probably end up getting cut. So if we get Penix, man, I'm good with that. I know I said that early in the year, probably before we even played Washington in the national championship. Go Blue. I think Penix is a good.
I like Penix.
I like him at that spot. I don't want anything to do with Knicks. I think McCarthy is doable at that spot too. Probably one of the shortest quarterbacks we had in several years, but I'll take it. I think he fits pretty good into our system. Got a question here from the Bowmeister. Rock in the comment section as usual. What do you guys think of Marvin skipping his media obligation? Probably listening to his daddy. Probably listening to his daddy.
Yeah,
I heard a couple of comments from him and maybe some other guys that I forgot the other guy's name, but they kind of downplayed the point of being at the combine and the point of doing some of this stuff. And it's like I can't be mad at them. Like I said last week, these guys have very little leverage, and a lot of stuff doesn't really improve their draft stock. If you really think that him answering some questions at a press conference is going to increase his draft stock, you need to get your head examined.
Yeah.
All they're going to do is answer the questions, the way they think they should be answered. No matter what you ask them, they're going to answer. And they say no comment. It's going to be a no comment. How's it going to help or hurt their draft stock?
Right.
The on-field play, all the tape they already have on them. That's all you really need. So, honestly, I'm kind of middle of the road with this. I'm like, yeah, man, doesn't bother me. I'm concerned about his play, and I think that's what's going to end up happening. Yeah, I was going to talk about that. Won't beat me to the punch. Man, that man's still on here hosting. He ain't even here. He's still hosting. Bro, we saw that pop across my notifications feed. The Bucks just re-signed Mike Evans for 2 years, $52 million. Now,
they're gonna run it back with Baker and just see what happens.
Wait a minute, are they? Are you sure?
Am I ever sure? No, but I don't see signing him for a 2-year deal and then bringing in a whole new quarterback. So I really feel like they're just like, hey, can we just win the division for two more years, and we're not going to win the Super Bowl, but let's at least make the playoffs and get a home game. I feel like that's the strategy.
So Mike Evans' platitudes about wanting to be with a Hall of Fame quarterback and a team that's contending, he didn't really mean it, huh?
No, he just wanted to get paid. At the end of the day, you want to get paid, and he wants to get paid. Like I said, what are the chances of the Bucks winning the Super Bowl next year? Zero. Is it? But what are the chances of winning the division next year?
Brady can come back and it's still not going to happen.
Yeah. So
it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to all the platitudes I was reading about over and over again on my news feed, and all of a sudden now I'm like, wow.
Oh, you could give the Bucks any quarterback in the league, their choice, no trade, just hand them. They're not winning the Super Bowl next year. They might be better, but they'll win the division. But I'm not putting them above any other team.
Are we even sure they're even going to do that? I'm not sure.
I think they can win the division, and that gets them a home game because of how bad that is. I think they can not easily, but I think they can win the division next year. But
good.
Yeah.
I ain't taking it off the table. It's not a good thing. Of course they can, but
yeah.
Is that really going to happen though? I mean, I think Baker overachieved, and we can let both chime in. That's his favorite player of all time, Baker Mayfield. Let him chime in on that part. But I mean, he overachieved last year. He really did. And the place where he did that is in late game situations.
Yeah.
He overachieved, and he did something that was, in my mind, I'll call it clutch. I don't know how else to describe it. That's not a Baker that we've been seeing over time at his other stops, not in Cleveland and in the places he's been at. Never seen that happen. So this is an overachievement here. That's why they got to the place that they did. If it wasn't for the fact that the Saints stubbed their toe and stumbled in places where they probably shouldn't have, where the Bucks have won, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, the Saints winning the division for pretty much almost all year long until we start seeing who they really were. And like, ooh, y'all ugly. And it never happened. So the Bucks winning the division, I wouldn't put my money on that.
Oh no. Well, if you put your money on anybody winning that division, like you're just burning it. Because the Saints, maybe they put it together. The Falcons are maybe a quarterback away from winning the division. There's stuff out there. It's just a bad division. The only thing you can guarantee is Carolina's not winning the division next year. Like that's the only thing I will absolutely guarantee. Other than that, the three teams they're three mediocre teams who happen to all be in the same division, and they get a home game to reward mediocrity. That's what it is.
So Michael Evans sold out. That's what you're saying.
Say, somebody want to give me $52 million. I guess I'll go lounge around for 2 years.
So now it's like it gives me pause about what we said about Baker. I'm like, wow. So what if he gets that contract? The Bucks are not giving it to him. He's not getting a $100 million contract from the Bucks. That's guaranteed not to happen. I don't think they even have the money for that. You can say the salary cap, but I don't think they even got it.
Yeah. And Evans is $35 million guaranteed, is what they said for Evans.
Yeah, but for Baker, he's not getting the money he's looking for.
No, I don't think so. But no, and that's the thing. It's like he's worth more to going back to Tampa Bay than he is. Like nobody else in the league is like, oh, let me sign Baker for big
Agreed.
Yeah, Baker's one of those like, if I'm one of those top teams drafting a quarterback and I can get Baker for cheap for a year so I don't have to play the other guy, then I'd be fine with that. But I'm not paying him like a 4-year deal, 3-year deal. So,
but looks as though the Bucks are they have a lot of bit of cap space. Last time we checked, I think that was in end of January. I don't know what it is now, but they were at the 10th most end of January.
okay,
$37 million. But it's like that guarantee has to have changed since then. So I don't see Baker getting the money that he's looking for now. But like you said, and that's an awesome point, man, that his value is highest with this team.
Yeah.
He's created a lot of sweat equity with them. And it's like going to a new team and trying to put on the whole Bucks Baker thing. It's like it's easier said than done. It could be easier for him to come back and kind of run it back again with these guys. I think they had a lot of things that I thought were challenges that they had to resolve, especially on the defensive side. A lot of their veterans didn't play up to par. There's some issues on the offensive side too. I thought was like really challenging. Like, wow, some tight end drop passes that I saw, some things that I just thought were like, even with the running backs, I thought there were some challenges that they can fix, either with new bodies or with a different mindset, perhaps. But we'll see what Baker ends up at. But another comment coming in from the Bowmeister. Saints with a better roster. I'm not sure you signed that deal with the rookie in mind.
Agreed. That's why Saints were my pick to win that division early on. And it was just, even as a Saints fan, they're like, I don't understand what's happening. And I don't understand how our coach kept his job after not winning this division. So,
yeah. It doesn't seem that they even get any, it's not getting any better. I know they restructured our Cards contract, which is like, fine, you probably should do that just because of the way you act cap-wise. But my God, I don't even know who they are, man.
Yeah.
They become a shell of themselves. I don't even know who they are. So it's like, I don't know what they're gonna do. Kamara is probably not, if he's there on the roster next year, I think his money was, I forgot how much his cap was, but it feels like it's too much for the Saints to handle.
Right.
So I would try to go young at that spot. Don't know if they will for nostalgia purposes or whatever, but I think they should do that and do it quickly. They got some wide receiver talent, man, that probably it hasn't been utilized much because the O-line situation has been so bad. Carr's been on his back like constantly. I mean, he knows the top of the stadium better than he does the sides of it because that's what he sees the most.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
so
and to your point, his base salary is $10 million next year. His cap hit is 18.
I thought it was like 11 for him.
His dead cap is 17. So I guess even if you get rid of him, it doesn't matter. So
I thought it was like 11 or something like that. Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's not great.
No,
but
not for the. And I don't feel like it's all his fault. Sometimes when I'm watching the game, he's obviously one of the more dynamic players, but it just I don't know. Sometimes I'm just not sure what the Saints are doing. So
yeah, I think we all feel that way, but I think Dennis Allen was the guy we thought he was going to be gone before we can blink our eye. I think he survived. I think he still made it. He's still there.
Yeah. Some coaches you just don't get what's going on. Like, here's a prime firing candidate. Nah, we'll keep him.
Oh yeah, we tell those fans. We'll show them.
Yeah,
we show those fantasy football guys.
Yeah, but we'll fire Vrabel, even though we gave him a subpar roster. So
that's still crazy to me. He's not going to have a job.
Yeah,
in 2024, with all he did, he's not going to have a job. Wow, it's amazing, man. But yeah, I'm excited about this draft, man. I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm super concerned because if we move, it has to be the right move, and we need all the picks we can get. We had so many problems on this entire team. We need help. I mean, we need help on the O-line. We need help with I think we need help with defensive back too. Some guys are not coming back. You're going to need help with linebacker for sure. I never felt great about that position either for our team. I need guys to play sideline to sideline, man. I'm like, I want some Leighton Vander Esch type guys, but I want some guys that can chase folks down and hunt them like a pack of wild dogs, man, and put them down. That's what I want back there in the linebacker. We need that. It'll really help out with the whole defensive scheme too and everything. But other than that, man, I don't know what we're doing, man. How about your teams in going into the draft? You got any things you're seeing? Anything that's exciting for you?
I think what I'm going to do is focus because, obviously I follow two teams, but I think what I'm going to do for any mock drafts is kind of follow
what those teams again?
Texas and Eagles is who I kind of rooted for this last year. But I think
it was the Titans.
Huh? Yeah, Titans with because I rooted for Derrick Henry before the year, but it was like when I don't have a true NFL team, I kind of like follow certain players, and I was always thinking I like Derrick Henry, and Tennessee would be one of the closer teams to go up and watch a game if I wanted to.
Okay.
But I realized, I think everybody realized, right? This last year was not going to be it. They should have gotten rid of him before the year. That was basically a lost year. For running back, a lost year is even worse than any other position, So I said, When the Texans got D'Amico Ryans and then drafted Will Anderson, I was like, okay, I could follow this team. So,
well, sounds like you got 3 teams.
No, the Titans are done. I don't even care what happens.
So it's gonna be the Eagles and the Texans. All right.
Yeah.
All of that.
The Titans would be that, like, if I could, like I said, if I wanted to drive up to a game, I guess I could either go to that or an Atlanta game. But it would definitely depend on who they were playing. Like, I'm not going up there to see the Titans, versus the Panthers, I guess. I'd like to see at least.
Well, I was gonna waste drives, 60 at the gas money, stay home.
Yeah. So
there's I think we're gonna touch a lot more of the whole free agency and waivers and off-season acquisitions.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on.
Byer, man, I got a notification by him, I guess 2 days ago, by Kevin Byer. He was on 2 of your teams, man. So it's like,
that's funny because you traded for him and he doesn't make it through an actual whole year with you. So,
oh my goodness,
should that be a competitive game? The Titans and the Panthers.
Are you sure?
It probably would be because Titans aren't going to be very good, and the Panthers, who knows? I mean, you can only go up from here, right? So, I'm gonna call that game. That game's going to be 10-7.
Theoretically, you can go up, but at the same time, you can definitely stay where you are and plateau. Yeah. It's been done before. Matter of fact, it happened last year and years before. NFL teams just plateau. I won't call you a name, but they just kind of just staying in the same place, flatline. Not going anywhere, not getting worse, but they're not getting any better either. Kind of just, so what's more frustrating? They stay there in plateau, or they're not getting any better at all. So they're just kind of just hanging out. So, oh man, fun show, man. Well, Bo, we miss you. Oh, bad but competitive. Yes, sir. Bad but competitive. I know for a fact that Bo wouldn't watch that kind of output. Despite all these comments, he wouldn't watch it. And I don't think Herb would either. Herb would turn the channel, or he would do something else and have it in the background.
It would have, it would have to be. It would have to be the only game on, and you're correct. It would make the background. But if there is any other competition, it's not even going to be on the TV. So you are 100% correct.
So suppose it was TNF. Yeah, guess what I'm doing? I'm turning to PBS and watching me a murder mystery or something. I'm not watching that stuff.
That's why if the wife says, "Hey, do you want to watch a movie?" I say, "Sure," and I can put it on a second TV and just look over every once in a while. But it's also one of those you look away for like.
Is Brittany having that?
Yeah,
you watching the movie together and you have to. The movie don't have no commercials.
Huh?
The movie don't have no commercials. So how are you getting your attention over to the game? And
you just glance over when something happens. Half the movies today have a spot where they. Yeah. We do that all the time. Yeah. Especially for NFL because I'm not as into it as college. So I'm like, I can just glance over and see a score every once in a while.
Before we close the show off, can I ask you for a very special request? I'm doing this on the air, so that way it's documented. So
okay.
I need her to tell me that, okay? I don't care how you made that happen. Tell me that y'all get together and watch a movie on presumably a date night, and you got a TV over there with something else on it other than the movie you guys are watching. I don't believe that for a minute.
I'll show you the pictures of the different rooms that happens in.
Oh no, not a picture, man. I need her to co-sign and say, yeah, I'm doing that.
Okay.
As long as she's sitting there with me, it's good. I'm like, I never heard anybody say that. She's the unicorn. That's what I never heard anybody say that ever. And I'm old. I'm older than you. That was ever a good. I need it, bro. Help me out.
Okay. I got you. I got you. Definitely.
Oh, that is so funny, man. But wherever you guys are and have you hearing the Call Me Mista Yu, the podcast, thanks again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week with your weekly mirror check before you change the world. Join us next week. We're coming in strong. Bo should be back with us from his Hawaii assignment. Out there kicking it with the palm trees and making us look bad again. Thanks, Bo. We love you, man. Raj out there dominating the comment section. out there in the workforce, getting it done, getting paid. Heard you're going to do the same thing right now.
Yeah.
Have a great day, guys. Love you. And guess what?
Good morning, everybody. Love y'all.
You on TikTok. Oh, my God.